There is a moment, somewhere between giving up and pushing forward, where everything about a person's future gets decided. Most people never even realize it's happening, and the ones who do realize it are the ones who change everything. Scientists who study human behavior have discovered something uncomfortable. The biggest obstacle most people face isn't money, talent, or opportunity. It's a boundary built entirely inside their own mind. And the strangest part is that boundary was constructed to protect them. The brain evolved not to make you successful, but to keep you safe. And safety, to the brain, means staying exactly where you are. This is why difficulty triggers an internal alarm. Researchers studying elite athletic performance found that the athletes who consistently broke records weren't the most physically gifted. They were the ones who had trained themselves to hear that alarm and keep moving anyway. They understood something most people never learn. Discomfort is not a stop sign. It's a checkpoint, testing whether you actually want what you claim to want. Psychologists have studied a pattern called learned helplessness for decades. When people experience repeated situations where effort seems useless, the brain begins to wire itself around the belief that trying won't work. Not because it's true, but because it feels true. And feelings, especially repeated ones, shape belief far more powerfully than logic ever could. But the same neurological flexibility that creates helplessness can undo it. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. When you move through discomfort without turning back, you send a signal to your nervous system more convincing than any motivational speech. You prove through action that difficulty does not mean defeat. And slowly, the internal alarm begins to quiet. Anthropologists have noted that across virtually every culture on Earth, there exists some version of a coming-of-age trial. A journey, a fast, a physical challenge, a period of isolation. These rituals weren't arbitrary. Ancient societies understood what modern psychology is only now quantifying. A person who has passed through real difficulty carries something that cannot be taught. They carry personal, undeniable proof that they are capable of more than they believed. The modern world has made comfort dangerously accessible, and comfort, while valuable, can quietly become a trap. When discomfort is always one click away from being avoided, the brain begins to treat any friction as a malfunction rather than a feature of growth. The threshold for what feels unbearable drops lower every time it goes unchallenged, like a muscle weakening from disuse. The people who move through life with unusual resilience are not lucky. They are practiced. At some point, consciously or not, they started choosing harder things. They let discomfort sit before reaching for relief. And in doing that, repeatedly, they built something inside themselves that no external circumstance could ever take away. Every time you face something that frightens you and move through it anyway, you are not just solving a problem. You are becoming someone with evidence. Evidence that you showed up when it was hard. That evidence accumulates and rewires how you see every future challenge. Not because someone told you to believe in yourself, but because you lived the proof. What researchers, historians, and philosophers have all converged on across centuries is a truth almost too simple. The version of yourself waiting on the other side of your hardest moments cannot be reached by avoiding those moments. Most people wait for the fear to disappear before they move, but the ones who truly rise have learned something different. The fear does not go first. The step goes first. And somewhere in the middle of that step, everything begins to change.